Hello. Another day, another video. This one's about the 6 drop slot that you find in Blue Steel and sort of what's optimal in it. I think now at this point I'm literally covering ink slots in a list in the deck, so we've covered quite a lot, and I think the last one left is maybe covering what you can include in the 1 to 2 drop slot, but no, that's not to do this video. That might come later. The 6 drop slot is one card has stood sort of the test of time since the start of Blue Steel, which has been Tinkerbell, and I think that's completely correct. How well she wins the boards on turn 4, getting her out after Quill is just such an impactful play. And because we forfeit a turn 3 character development, or well, not okay because we can play Mickey, but we forfeit playing an optimal, a big character or anything like that at all. But we forfeited that to get ramp, so it's nice that we can repay that instantly with the Quill and get the Tinkerbell out and win the board back. Because we will play a weaker early game sometimes, and we will just lose the board. And she's probably one of the best equalizers out there. Puts 1 damage straight across the board, so any aggro deck that you come across, instantly you're going to cause them problems. That 1 damage does lead up to a lot of maths of grab your sword. So if you have a 5 drop already set up like Cogsworth, you can sing, grab your swords and do 3 damage across the board. We're seeing a little bit of issues with that recently with Sisu, but I think if you quill ramp to her and then throw on the board, she'll stop the Sisu from proccing, and then you can do some fun maths of hit and take out a Flynn or something, or hit and take something else out, or hit put the damage over, and then maybe sing a grab. I mean, you can do some fun maths of it. So that 1 damage across the board isn't always linear. You can mess around with that. You can do some trades as well. Maybe you're only 1 damage off. Say they haven't exerted Sisu. I don't know why I keep using Sisu as an example, but they have one. And then from you putting this out, that means a Smee or a Hook could just go in and trade. So the 1 damage across board is great versus aggro. It's just also a great board equalizer because you're just putting damage out there. She's instantly a threat. I mean, the fact that into green steel, if you play her out, it will force your opponent to not exert anything, but maybe just the Diablo because they don't want you to do the hit, put 2 damage across. Because even with Hidden Cove, you've jumped on the board and done 1 damage across, so there's no bonuses from the Hidden Cove there that will save them. So she's just a massive threat we put out there. 4 damage is always great to hit with, and like I say, whenever you go into anything, you've probably already done 1 damage anyway. So you're going in with 5 damage, commonly when you play her, and when you start trading with her and start using her. So she's just like the greatest board equalizer. Quests for 2, inkable, cheap. That's why she's always been stuck as a 4 drop. And unlike Cogs, who some people have sort of debated the quantities of how many you want to play, she's always stuck at 4x, and I'm very grateful that we don't have to go any more in depth on that because she's just such a good card. This is set 4 I'm talking about right now. So I don't know. I want to try and time stamp these videos. I can't see her falling out meta. She's just great. She fills the spot so well, but maybe in the future. But right now, there's nothing else that does board wide damage and continues to do multiple bits of damage as well and trades perfectly with pretty much most things in the game. As I say, yeah, amazing board equalizer, great 6 drop. That's why she's six in there as a 4x for most lists. Going through the rest of them, Hercules is one that's popping up here and there in Blue Steel lists, and someone gave me this reasoning the first time, and I would say I disagreed with it the first time I heard it, was that it can kill a Hiram, which it can do because it hits for 6, so it can kill a Hiram with no problem. That's actually think about something she would have a problem with. She'd have to find the 1 extra damage from somewhere. But also I think that's still just not good enough because, think about what she can do is you can play her, then sing Zeus to take out a Hiram, which is great. With Hercules, you're gonna have to wait for them to exert, and by that point they've got 4 cards, and I think taking out Hiram after they've gained a 4 card advantage, it's not amazing. So I don't think the card is there for that reason. I mean, it can do that, of course. If they have exerted Hiram, you can take it out. It's unlikely they wouldn't take the 2 extra cards. They would still take it. But I don't think he's there for that. I think he's really resilient. He's going to stick on board. He'll trade 1 for 1 with Maui. He'll take out most things on the board. Zeus won't take him out. Pair him with a Cogsworth, and you've got 2 resist there from 1 Cogsworth. Quest for 2. I think he's just a very strong body, and he does the sort of same he does it in his own way. He does the same thing as Tinkerbell does. Once you put him on the board, you start equalizing the board out, and you say, "Hey, here's this thing. Deal with it." He has no on plays though, which for me right now in this meta, I'm staggering to say this, but I think that's too slow. I think either something has to have an on play, or just be just like such an on play that it needs to be removed. Like when you play a bell, you force a reaction from them, don't you? Or when you play anything, you basically force them to react. Not anything, but Bell is a good prime example. I'm going blank on the other ones. Maybe Tamatoa, but that's a bigger cost character. But once you play it on the board, actually Ariel as well, I think she will. But I don't want to cover her too much here. But once you play as on the board, I feel like your opponent could be like, yeah, okay, that's kind of annoying, but it's just going to trade one thing a turn. Um, I'll probably eventually get around to taking it out. It's just it will be annoying on the board, but I don't know if you just want annoying on the board. But as I say, it will trade perfectly everything. The resist is really nice. It's going to be sticky. Uh, Zeus won't take it out. Let it go will be an option, but would you really want to let it go a 6/5 that's just annoying on board? So yeah, I think once you put him out there, he's going to cause problems instantly. But he's not going to progress you towards your win, and he might not equalize the board. He'll just do 1/1 trades for, not 1/1 trades. He'll just trade for a bit. You can heal him up with Porpsel as well and keep him alive. So I think into a lot of steel matchups, he's quite a useful card. But into sort of red ones, at some point you're just going to get board wiped anyway. So and there's not really much you really care about trading there. But yeah, I still see why he's a good card. I see the value in him. I see the value of just putting a very powerful character on board. Stats wise, he is more impressive than any character in the blue steel deck, I believe, except Tawatara, I guess. But it's just yeah, you're gonna make a threat and they're gonna have to answer it. Otherwise, they're just gonna getting challenged. But it's not gonna be hugely impactful. Whereas Tinkerbell, once she's down, she can do hit, put 2 damage over, take more things out. But still, I could see why you want to play one or two if you need an extra 6 drop on your deck. Gaston, he's one he keeps going in and out of my list, and I saw Bad Vegas did very well with it, and 2 was just that seems such a sweet spot if you're going to use the card. On play, you get to draw a card and scry 2 cards. Scry in the sense of just you bottom deck 2 cards, which um, it can sometimes burn you. It can sometimes burn you. The 2 cards you bottom deck, you might get in the 3 card options, you might get a dime and a dime, uh, dime and a dime target, and you really want all of them, but you're going to have to bottom deck one. That sort of sucks, but the majority of the time, what the card's going to do is either going to get you a good card or progress you 3 cards closer to a better card. Especially if you're trying to hit Whole New World or something like that. Say you've quilled ramped up to him, you play it, you're either going to get a Whole New World or you're going to get 3 cards closer to a Whole New World. So, it's really good. 4/4 is great as well. I mean, stats wise, I think if something attacks for 4, that's just a nice number. 4 health's not amazing, but still, it's not bad for all of the other benefits that it's providing. Quest for 3, so it's fairly decent dime target. The way I reviewed the card was just overall he does all right or does good at everything. Good body on the board, decent cost, draws a card, scries cards, quests for a high number, quests for like a middle rangey number, above a 2, but not quite a 5 yet. But it's just all round a strong card. So I think if you're looking for some sort of consistency in your deck, maybe you're not hitting Holy Worlds enough, or like you just keep losing because you're just missing out on getting the right cards at the right time. Gaston is a very good card to look at. He could find you dime later on in the end game. He can find you a dime target and then progress your board with a 4/4 on the board. So he's just got so much application in there, but he's also still not bad to hit on that early turn 4 just to get something on board that could sing as well. When he trades, he's going to leave a Maui on 1 health left, so you could play your Tinkerbell the following turn and just take out the Maui, and your board looks quite nice from there. So yeah, overall, I think he just does pretty good at everything, but he doesn't seem to excel at one particular thing. He's just drawing cards is good, questing is good, being a big body is good. So yeah, he's just sort of really good if you need consistency in your list. And the last one sort of is Ariel. She I think she's really, really good, and she does float in and out of my lists. I have a sort of love-hate relationship with her. Sometimes I'm hating this card, and sometimes I'm loving it. But overall, I think it wins me more than it frustrates and loses me more. Versus a red deck, if you play it and you play it next to something, you mean they can't Tremaine it. If you play it to something that doesn't have 3 attack, they can't brawl then Tremaine either. So you force a B prep on that turn. And something you'll get with Blue Steel is you'll learn when to know that you're also in quite big control of when the B preps are going to happen. If they have one in hand, you can flood to a certain point where they will have to react with the B prep. And that isn't the worst thing in the world for you, because if you think that's just going to be their turn, they're only going to have 7, 8, 9 ink. So they might do it, might throw a Chernobog out or something. But their turn is going to be they play the B prep, so you get to a point where you can force it. I'm only talking about the defensive parts of the card. She also, if you're at 10 lore, you play her down and you have a dime, or like you can play a dime the next turn and have 9 ink. You can be like, answer this turn or I win. She's really good there. Um, in the mirror, if you play her next to a Cogsworth, you can just keep questing into Green Steel as well. They won't really have many answers for her. You can just keep questing, and she's got ward. So there's just loads of application, which is really good. She is a free 4, so once she is exerted, she doesn't really trade very well into everything. Like some things just won't die, and you'll leave them on a decent-ish health. Most people can scrounge up 4 health, 4 damage, or have a rush card to do it. So once exerted, she does become a little more fragile, but still, she's got ward. You can't target her. No steel removal spells. You've got grab your swords. 2 grab your swords is what they'd need to take her out. So once she's there, she's instantly a problem for them. So I just think she's really good for that. The condition is quite low as well, only needing a certain amount of items. So over a large majority of the decks, you don't even need to worry about the condition. You just need to have 1 item down, which is fairly common in Blue Steel with all the Porpsicles and the Quills. But even into them other decks, it takes a very minor amount of brain skill. Most players won't be thinking about, oh, have I made sure that the area isn't procking? So yeah, you usually get it down, you get value, you either get them using bad removal actions or a bad use of their removal actions, or you get 5 to 10 lore and win the game. So I found it very good. I think if you've seen my 4x list, I think that's you can go completely commit on her, but because she's an uninkable and she's going to win you the game, but you need to get to the point where you can use her to win the game. I've just been playing her as a 2x right now, sometimes a 1x, because I think she's quite situational as well. Just putting it's kind of the same issue I find with Cogsworth. He's great, he wins you the board hard, but just putting a Cogsworth down doesn't win you the game. You still need to work with that. But yeah, I think these are the sort of top contenders for the 6-drop slot in your deck, and sort of everything I've covered there. But yeah, as I say, 4x the Tinkerbell. Same board equalizer. You put her out there, she doesn't on play, then she continues to do multiple damages across the board. Hercules just a big boy once you put him out on the board, and he's going to instantly make them go, well, he's going to trade quite nicely for a few turns unless I deal with it. And you probably want to deal with it, because if I was playing Hercules, I'd use Porpsicles to heal him up after the trades, and then rely on the resist to keep him alive as well. And that's a good point. If you play Cogsworth and Hercules, Maui doesn't even take it out. Jesus, that's quite good. But yeah, I think he does a similar task that Tinkerbell does. He just does it in his different way. Gaston, yeah, like I say, overall, all stats wise, great quester, decent body. Um, Finds you a card, draws you a card, scries. It's really good. Uninkables, I wouldn't worry too much about Uninkables. We still have that flexibility with it. But besides that, of these options, besides Tinkerbell, all the other ones are going to be at 2 counts or less in standard Blue Steel lists. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And then Ariel, yeah, she's either going to force bad removal or she's going to win you the game. And she can be that good sometimes. I've been games where I just ignored Castle because they couldn't find the removal options to take her out. And then you've got Dime and Tap, and then they might trade, and then you just play another Dime target and win. So yeah, I think they're all good options, and just sort of find one that you fits your play style or the way you want to play or what you want to achieve your deck, and you should be laughing.